Well, we're coming into winter for sure. Picnic's starting to have bigger nuts again. So one thing people don't know about wolves and high content wolf dogs is that unlike domestic dogs that produce copious amounts of sperm year round, because female domestic canines, hey, you guys are knocking me down, go into estrus multiple times a year. Wolves and high contact wolf dogs only go into estrus once a year. And the males are only reproductively fertile during the same time of the year as the females are. And so during the non-reproductive time of the year, they got little tiny peanuddles. You can hardly even find them. They're like smaller than table grapes. And then we start getting into the winter, and as they start putting on their winter coats, they start getting bigger nuts. And their testosterone levels also markedly increase during that time. And if you have animals that are inclined to be more intense during that time of year, then that's when you can sometimes have these seasonal aggressive behaviors crop up. And some people, especially people that really aren't familiar with these animals and aren't really prepared for their behaviors, run into challenges where they get themselves bit up, or they just realize they bit off more, figuratively speaking, bit off more than they could chew, and consequently those animals end up rehomed. And usually you see that either the second, third, or the fourth full winter for the males. And females can be real spicy at that time of year too. I mean, it's an intense time of year. Imagine you were only going to get lucky one time a year. Yeah, it'd be pretty intense time of year for you too. And if someone was interfering with your ability to reproduce at that time of year, you might be likely to bite them up as well. Now, for me, fortunately, so Icknick is 5 now. And so this will be his 6th winter. And he's been a delight. He has not exhibited any particular seasonal aggression. He might be a little more intense that time of year when it comes to other dogs particularly, but with me he's always been really sweet. And last year he had 2 fertile females on the property, and he wasn't allowed to be with them, and he remained sweet, so I'm optimistic that we'll be in good shape for that. This winter is going to be maybe a little more intense because we're going to have Sunny and Mooney are both going to be fully in season. They were early last year. Normally the females don't ever come into season their first winter when they're not even a year. But our animals were unusual in that they were unusually large, very well fed, super healthy. And so we did have estrus cycles for both of them, although maybe not quite as hormonally intense as we would expect otherwise. Come on, let's go this way. Come on. And consequently, things were pretty easy. And the girls got along with each other the whole winter season too. This year, it may be a different story. Just because they'll be more mature, there'll be more hormonal. And so, yeah, the objective is to keep our animals together as much as possible and have the full family group dynamics that I find so interesting in their wild relatives, which is just the social dynamics of these animals together. And people who are familiar with me have observed that we have a very unusual situation in that we have multiple generations. So I have a 13-year-old who's really pretty clearly the dominant CEO. That's our matriarch, Akutak, who is quite obviously the boss of everybody. And even Icknick is quite deferential to her. She's been the mother of all the pups that we currently have, so they respect her and fall in line when she lays down the paw. And so then we have Icknick, who's 5. So he's a 5-year-old, fully mature, super vigorous and fertile male. And then we've got the yearlings. We got Sunny and Mooney. They'll both be entering their second winter season and probably their first full-blown estrus. They had heats last year, but they weren't fully mature. So this year will be a little bit different. And it's possible the girls might start not getting along during that particular time of year. And if that's the case, well, we're prepared to separate them. We would separate them before they start having obvious disputes. Like we just start to see, don't do it. Hey, don't roll in it. Come on. Come on. Hey. I don't know what he's going to roll in, so we'll avoid it. You, mister, let's try on some stink. And I don't know what stink. Did he get it? I don't know. We'll have to check. Let's see. How stink is he? Come here. Let's do a stink check. Let's do a stink check. Come here. How stinky did you get? Come here. Come here. I don't think it was too bad. Well, let's find out. Come here. Hey, come here. Oh, he's not cooperating. You stink? No, I think I avoided the worst of it. That's good. All right. So, we'll, at the first signs of any kind of incipient aggression, we'll separate those guys for the breeding season with the idea that by avoiding having any serious altercations, we'll be able to reintegrate them once the hormonal drive diminishes and everybody can be copacetic again. The pup Noonie is only going to be 8-9 months old, something like that. He will not be reproductive. That'd be extremely unusual for a male to have enough maturity for that time of year on the first winter. So I anticipate he won't be an issue no matter what. He'll probably be able to be with whoever, although if he shows any signs at all of being reproductively capable, we're not going to let him near the girls because we don't have any plans for litters at this time. So the pairings are as follows. Icknick can be with a Kutak and potentially Noonie, and Noonie can be with a Kutak and Icknick, so long as they're getting along. And then if he doesn't show any signs of being fertile, then he could be with the girls, either together or individually. A Kutak could be with the girls, provided they're not getting into fisticuffs with her. I don't think they will, but again, caution. And then the worst case scenario of all would be nobody gets along with anybody, and we've got a Kutak and Nepenthe together with maybe Noonie. Like the boys will get along with the Kutak and Nepenthe no matter what. And so it's mostly just the worst case would be that Icknick and Noonie don't get along, and Sunny and Mooney and a Kutak don't get along. And then we'd have to keep pretty much everybody segregated for about 10 weeks, which ain't going to be a walk in the park, but that's the planning that we do ahead just in case. And so we're prepared to subdivide habitats in such a way that we don't have any altercations or any reproduction. And ideally, if we do our job right, if we're on top of it and everything goes okay, assuming I have to separate people to begin with, but if I do, the idea would be that once the hormones start to attenuate, we'll be able to carefully reintegrate everybody, and we'll be good for the entire rest of the year, that they will once again be collegial with one another, and we'll begin to resume the normal dynamic of our social group. But it's always possible that can't happen, in which case we're set up to keep everybody apart on a semi-permanent basis, if we have to. I hope not. But yeah, that's the kind of thinking you've got to do when you're managing numerous of these guys, and especially when you're managing them in a reproductive condition. And for those of you that are going to say, well, why do you do that? Why do you keep them intact? So we have some really rare genetics. We have some projects planned for the future for a museum experience that we're working on launching. And we want to be able to breed our own family group from our animals. We've carefully selected them so that we have that capability to do a very specialized thing. And so obviously you don't sterilize animals if that's your plan. And so the other reason is that I'm really interested in the social dynamics of these animals. And when you spay or neuter them and you change their hormones in that way, then you completely, or at least largely, destroy the kinds of behaviors that I'm most interested in observing and working with. So there's that reason. However, we do have a long-term plan that will make things easier on us, and that is that we intend to catch and store the sperm for the males. So we're hoping, and you can only do that during breeding season, which is why we got to keep him how he is this breeding season. But the idea will be that this winter, oh, come on, please don't be rolling in gross stuff like bear poop. Come on, hey, you. Oh, she ain't coming in the house tonight. She just stuck her shoulder in bear poop, didn't you? That's a risk this time of year. Anyhow, so yeah, we're going to try to catch his sperm, make sure it's viable, bank it in a genetics vault, and then we'll give him a vasectomy. That's right, not sterilization, but vasectomization. I've done this before with animals, and the reason is that way he'll be hormonally intact, and the benefit to that is that then in successive winters, he'll be able to be with his chosen partner, which, as far as we can tell, he and Mooney have self-selected for one another. And so then that way he won't have to be isolated from her, and that will allow them to behave normally. They'll tie, they just won't fertilize unless we provide that service for them. But that preserves the genetics. In case something were to go wrong with the vault, we could always extract sperm from the testes directly. He'll have his normal pair bond with his chosen partner. And at some point, if we choose to inseminate Mooney with his sperm, then they can have their pups. And we have all of the aspects of their behavioral characteristics that I want without the risk of a unplanned reproductive event. And then in a year or two, we'll do the same thing with Noonie. And most likely Noonie and Sonny will be an item. They are pretty partial to each other, but it's hard to tell when you got a puppy. And who knows, when Noonie gets a little older, Mooney may be like, oh, I really like Noonie. But Icknick really likes Mooney, so most likely Icknick and Mooney are kind of a done deal. But yeah, that's the reproductive program. And as far as the bigger project goes, I'll definitely do a much longer detail of what that project looks like and where we're at, because it's sort of my life mission to make this one happen. It's sort of my last big project, I think. I'm going to be 58 in a couple weeks here, and I think this one's going to eat up the next, could be 15 to 20 years of my life, at which point hopefully I'll be ready to take a rest. But the idea will be to open a world-class science and education facility up here that's fully open to the public, and we can educate hundreds of thousands of people a year on the benefits of wolves and the challenges of wolves, and get people to be well-informed and do coexistence science. The idea will be to have about a 25-acre habitat that the animals can live in and pretty much act like wild wolves. Icknick always hates this spot. He got scared one time going through this little narrow pinch here where there's a manhole. And ever since then, we got to coax him through. But anyway, yeah, so that's the reproductive plan and the coexistence plan that we're working. And then we'll talk about the Tahoe Wolf Center expansion plan here later. But before I go, quick plug for something. I have been working on a book, and it's near the finish line. The final draft is actually at my editor's. To be honest, there's two books. So the first book, I'm going to give a couple plugs here. You'll be able to pre-order these here in just a couple weeks. But had to untangle Sonny's foot. So the first is a grown-up book. It's called The Wolf Lover's Guide to Raising Dogs. I am really proud of this work. It synthesizes my 40 years of experience with these animals, as well as with dogs, and my knowledge of the behavior of wild wolves. And the idea is that it's not a dog training book. It's a book that's intended to help you have a better, more complete and collegial relationship with your domestic canines by understanding the basis for their behavior and how to adapt your lifestyle to make your dog's life with you better. And it incorporates my wisdom from working with these incredibly primitive dogs. I like to call them raw dogs for the last nearly 40 years. So it's called The Wolf Lover's Guide to Raising Dogs, and it'll be available on Amazon and other platforms. And then there'll also be a special author's edition that you can order directly from me, which I can autograph for you and include other special perks for people that are interested. And then it'll also be available as an ebook and also eventually as an audiobook. So that's coming before Christmas if things go well. And I'm equally excited about this just because I think it's such a cute and needed story. For those of you that follow me know we had our giant Malamute Bixby pass away at 14 this year, which was very old but still very hard. But we replaced Bixby. Well, you can't replace an animal like Bixby, but we had planned on his succession with his sperm is in a genetic bank, and so someday we'll have his puppies. But we have a Malamute puppy, Nepenthe. You've probably seen her on some of my videos. And Nepenthe is not like Bixby because Bixby was just perfect. He was just the most perfect dog in terms of behavior. You could leave a steak on an ottoman and he would guard the steak. He would not steal the steak. Come here, Sonny. Sonny, hey, don't drag me down there. I don't want to go down there. You would not believe how strong these animals are when they get their head to go somewhere. Because I'm a fairly strong dude and she can jerk me around pretty good. Come on, let's go this way. Come on. Come on, Sonny. All right, come on. I'm going to take charge now because you guys aren't cooperating. Come on, let's go. Oh. Leave it. Come on, leave it. Oh. We're going to go this way. Come on. Hey. This is a challenge of two giant animals when they don't want to go where you want to go. Yeah, I know. It's homeless fucktards over there. Come on. Oop. Forgot I'm recording. Oh well. It's not their fault that. It's just that they poop in the middle of the trail and it's gross. Come on. Hey. Come on. Please. Let's go this way. Sonny, wrong side of tree. Come on. Wrong side of tree. Let's go this way. Sonny. Here. All right. Anyway, the second book, quite a long plug, I guess. The second book is the Little Malamute Raised by Wolves. And the deal is, it's really based on Nepenthe's true story, which is that she has bad role models. And so she's unruly. She steals stuff and she chews stuff up and she's just a little naughty. And so in the story, my naughty little puppy, her family decides that maybe she should go to puppy charm school. And unfortunately for her, puppy charm school is a little challenging for a Malamute puppy raised by wolves. And consequently, she gets a little bullied by the charm school puppies. And so she's not so happy about charm school. But then there's a weather emergency, and she teaches the charm school puppies to leverage their wolfy ancestry, and she shows them wolf behaviors that help them to navigate the emergency, and ultimately she leads them to her wolf family who guides them to safety. And just like that, I've got my escort. So let's see here. There he is. All right, so this is Barky. And somewhere behind Barky is Barky's mate. I know Barky. He's got a very distinctive white tip tail and a distinctive bark. And Barky really gets concerned when I'm out here. And I know there's at least two because I understand their vocalizations. Oh, are you rolling in stuff? Come on. Come on. Well, I'm distracted. She's rolling this stink. I got coyotes barking at me. It's craziness. All right. Yeah, so Barky and his mate are going to escort me. That means they're going to follow along and bark at me. See, he stays about 30 yards away, and he'll follow me to try to move me. Come on, let's go. We don't care. And I know it sounds like there's about 10 coyotes, but there's really just two. They have this ability to vocalize in a way that sounds like many more, but it's just the two. See, one of them is right. So that's Barky's mate. She's darker and has a black tail and is a little smaller. And then Barky is much closer to us. That's Barky. Oh, now we got a third. So now I got three of them. And I always love it when they escort me. But I'm gonna move on because I don't want them to feel threatened by us, because we're not a threat. We're just moving. So anyway, the little Malamute raised by wolves is beautifully illustrated by a dear friend of mine who also knows our animals, because she is a technician at the veterinarian that provides us with such outstanding care. And so it's got a very happy ending, beautiful art. I love children's books. Come on, Sonny. Come on, Sonny. My whole mission started with a children's book. And so I'm a big fan. And I wanted to do, this will be the first of several children's books. Actually, I already have a couple more outlined. But we're going to get this one off the press first and into people's hands. And again, that'll be available on Amazon, other book. Come on, Sonny. Oh my gosh. Other platforms, and should be available just before Christmas. And we'll announce when it's available for pre-order. And again, there'll be a special author's edition for people who want to purchase it directly from me. All right, that's quite a long-winded little thing here.